Oh, the MSQ is so good. Now I'm all caught up. What do I do now?
Ko, what are you doing? It is me, God.
God?
Just kidding, it's me, Lewis. Why are you looking up your stolen nudes?
I beat the MSQ in 14, I got nothing else to do.
You could do other things in Final Fantasy XIV besides looking up your stolen nudes.
Oh. 14 can get kind of boring for players who don't know what they want to do. I get it. You've done it. You've caught up on all the 14's main quests, but what do you do now? Go raid stupid? No, I'm not gonna suggest that. It's probably the most commonly known response that everyone gets after they beat the main story. While that's the most common suggestion for everyone when they beat the story, not everyone's interested in raiding. It kinda has a scary and intimidating entry for players new to raiding as a whole, and some players just aren't ready for that kind of content, possibly. And believe me, I was sweating like crazy when I was doing my first ever Savage runs, I get it. If you're one of the 10 players who are still sub to 14 during a massive downtime between patches or just at a loss of what to do and don't want to be bored, today I will suggest to you some things that can keep you busy. Go do ERP. I'm joking. Mostly. Also, another alternative you can do is touch grass, which I've been told to do so, but I got kind of bored after a few seconds of doing that, so instead, let's go do something fun. Let's get some easy suggestions out of the way. I call these ones the quick ones, which sounds like the nickname given to me by my ex coincidentally. Funny how it works out like that. For my first quick one, I have leveling up different jobs, and as it sounds, this will allow you to access different jobs and get you into roles you thought you never would try before. I eventually settled on Black Mage as my main job. When I first started, I was a paladin, then I saw how ugly that level 50 armor is, yuck. Then I swapped to ninja because it had dual wielding, and here I am as a Black Mage. A job that I thought was too nerdy to play and looked lame, but you know what, it kind of matches me in real life, so I guess you are what you play. If you're anything like me and you enjoy pain, well, you go back and level up all the jobs to 90 because why not? But if you don't want to do that, I would say at least look into a job that you're kind of curious in. Who knows that might end up being your new main. I think it's an experience that everyone should try at least a few times. Who knows, you might enjoy playing Machinist. Don't actually play that. PvP, and I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but trust me, it's a lot more comfier and kind of simple. And when you eventually get into a match, I swear it's really fun. PvP isn't as stressful as it seems sometimes. Like really, if you're playing ranked crystalline conflict, it'll be way more sweatier, but playing casual will be more forgiving. But play Frontlines if you want pure chaos. I'm saying, look, no one expects to win Frontlines. We just go in there and we YOLO. So play that one if you just want to kind of throw things at a wall, just throw your spells and everything at other players, just follow the main group. It's really kind of a very brain-dead mode to play. What the hell did I just say? I said stick with the main group, this dumb dragoon, oh my god. And on the plus side, if you do PvP content, you get PvP gear. And not to brag, but you know, I think PvP gear looks pretty nice. And lastly, let's go over some tribe things. Doing your daily tribes will allow you to get exclusive tribe gear and goodies such as exclusive locked behind tribe emotes. They're mostly like another thing to check off your list of things to do in the game, so that's kind of nice. But this kind of content is limited by a time gate, so you really want to get started on this as soon as possible. You also get a pretty cute insight into all the different tribes in the game. You get to even help out the snake women, so if you're into that kind of thing, well, there you go. But there's also an option for the elephant people as well. We're not gonna knock that, they're beautiful people too. And lastly, you get a good amount of EXP for your combat jobs, crafting, and gathering. And those are the quick ones. Let's actually talk about some more in-depth topics that I kind of want to go over that'll give you more things to do. The next one I have up is housing, and the problem with housing is that it can be very limited. To get a house now in 14, you have to win a lottery system, and I know a guy who went through at least 5 different lotteries before he even got one. Not everyone can end up with a house, however, apartments are always an option. They're much easier to get than houses, and they're cheaper. Just like real life. Apartments are a great way to get into housing first. It's kind of like a free trial. Did you know that apartments in the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV are a free trial for housing and includes a housing item limit space of 100 for furniture? Sign up today. Or if you're part of an FC with an FC house, you can get an FC room for about the same price of 300k. Apartments and FC room function pretty much the same, so there's really not much of a difference if you choose one or the other. Whether you have a house, an apartment, or an FC room, you can get started with the hardest content in the game, like actually hard harder than raiding. I am not joking you. I would rather run Ultimate all day, every day, instead of sitting here trying to float a stupid furniture piece. I'd rather eat rocks right now. 14 housing is full of pain, and you'll be crying every step of the way, and you will be. Trust me. But it's so worth it when you can finally make a place that you can call home and it feels really nice. That is, until you see other creations around you and you start to feel even worse. So I recommend to get your housing game up, you go check out the HDTV 14 housing channel on YouTube. My friend Ashen and her team makes a lot of great videos on whether you need inspiration or housing tips or tutorials. Go check it out, it's very helpful, fun content. Let's talk about everyone's favorite kind of people in 14, the mentors. Yes, for a nice 1,500 commendations? I gotta be nice to other players? You too can become a mentor. The act of being a mentor is a fate similar to being bullied in school. And even though they're the most hated people in the game and made fun of as well, mentors do one of the hardest things, which is going through content and trying to teach players how to do it. And I mean, can you imagine me, Mentor Co? I would blow up. I don't even know half the extremes in the game. Like, I'm just gonna, why would I put myself through that? No. You telling me to be patient and a mentor roulette is like trying to tell a dog not to go hump the beanbag chair. That was a really terrible analogy. Mentors are the most selfless people in the game. The reward of being a mentor comes with a feeling of helping out the players, and it honestly feels really good. Mentors are always made fun of for doing the right thing. Who else is gonna answer that call to help struggling players out there? Mentors are the most selfless people out there, and honestly, I salute them. Wait, what was that? You get a mount if you help enough players out there? Oh, that's why they're doing it, man. I thought they were just good people, but they're just like me. Man, f them new players. Looking good is 100% part of the game, and collecting glamour can be fun in itself. Having new outfits can make you feel good about yourself, unlike your real life self where you only wear the same hoodie every single video. Wait a minute. One of my favorite sites to use is the Eorzea collection, which is a great site for getting inspiration for clothing, or just literally stealing piece for piece somebody else's work. And once you found that right look you want to try to copy or, take inspiration from, you can go hunting for the pieces, and that will give you a lot of time to do things. Fashion is the true endgame of 14, not rating, so if you want to look good, get on it. Adventuring Forays. Now, this is probably the most funkiest name out of anything in this game, but you know what? It is what it is. Eureka and Basha fall under the Adventuring Foray category, and, well, it's kind of a tough ask to do these because it's kind of dead content. The quest lines will require you to run some content that you may need people to help you with, and if you're playing at a time where there's not really people on or you're lacking in friends, you might have a rough time. Eureka and Basha actually have the relics from both Stormblood and Shadowbringers respectively. So if you like collecting relics, go ahead and go for these. Aside from the relics, they both have their own quest line and really hard challenging fights, so I would say definitely go for this kind of content. It also involves a lot of grinding as well, so if you like to grind while, watching something on the side, this is a great way to progress. I especially want to mention Eureka here, which actually has one of the coolest mounts in the game, and it's known for being one of the hardest mounts to kind of get because of the content behind it. This cube ball boy thing. Now the thing about this mount is that it's locked behind a pretty tough content wall, where if you die in this content, you may not be easily revived by your teammates. It's that hard. However, there's a lot of help out there for this kind of content. There are Discord servers specifically made for this kind of content where people get together and run Eureka content. And best part is, you don't even have to talk, you just go in and listen to calls and that's it. It's honestly one of the coolest things ever in 14, having to jump into a call coordinated by an expert who's giving you the shot calls. It's like Savage Raiding, but on a large scale of like at least 24 people. It's pretty awesome, go check it out. And a huge shout out to the Crystalline Adventuring Forays and Expedition Discord, aka Cafe. They helped me got my clear for Eureka and I got my mount because of them, and they were so cool and always coordinate a lot of runs, so please go check them out. Now, Blue Mages is one of the rare jobs in 14 that kind of goes overlooked all the time. Please stop making fun of us. But I would say, honestly, if you have not unlocked Blue Mage or collected some spells, try doing that. With the fully equipped Blue Mage, you can actually run through dungeon content really easily. But why would I need to run through dungeons quickly, Ko, when I can just do that on my other jobs? The Tombstone event comes by every now and then and it awards you with Tombstone for doing activities in the game. You can get Tombstones from running Praetorium, Old Alliance raids, even raid content, dungeons, and PvP. However, instead of doing all of that, you can just run dungeons as Blue Mages where you can clear in less than like 4 minutes, allowing you to knock out this event and get all the rewards you need as quickly as possible. From having to level the Blue Mage, collecting the spells, doing the Blue Mage Carnival, and doing all the other content that would involve Blue Mage stuff, there's a lot that can be done here, and I think you should give it a try if you haven't yet. Besides that, Blue Mage itself can actually be kind of challenging. You can actually run through old content as Blue Mages for rewards. Now, the next thing I'm going to suggest is probably the most evilest thing in the world, and I'm not talking about kicking Lalafels. I am talking about relics and how evil they are. Relics are evil and full of so much work, just for glamour. That's right, previous relics are mainly there just for glamour, and they serve almost no purpose in combat. Actually, sometimes you can use them for raiding on previous content for an extra bit of damage, but it's almost never needed. But other than that, you can waste so much time making relics for the ideal glamour set, like weeks worth of time depending on the relic, and honestly, it's worth it. Some of the weapon relics look really nice, and honestly, it's a feat on its own to get them done. And I've known people who've got multiple relics done from one expansion. We call these people clinically insane. I have to come clean on this last one. For the longest time, I thought RP venues were kinda cringe. I used to think to myself, what's so fun about getting together, making up these weird stories and like acting things out at a place? Well, turns out, I was severely wrong. It's actually a lot of fun. This whole entire area of the game is something that I have zero knowledge on, but RP venues are actually super chill. If you're a person who cannot go out with friends, or simply lack friends, RP venues offer an environment where players can just sit down and chill with others. People who really get into this thing and get really immersed into the act is honestly pretty commendable and impressive. If you've never RP'd before, it's honestly like acting in front of a bunch of strangers you don't know, and it's honestly one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done in this game. Ko goes in to lick the cat girl's ear slowly and passionately. I'm not even joking, even more nerve-wracking than raiding. I apologize to all the RP players out there for kind of thinking it was kind of silly content. Turns out I was the silly content the whole time. I hope you forgive me. And if you're asking, Ko, where do you go for your RP? Well, I can't really disclose where I go because I don't want you guys catching me at places, but let's just say maybe a certain cat girl Hooters is something I like to go check out every now and then, so just saying, you know, maybe you'll find me there, maybe you won't, who knows. And there you go. Hopefully these things will help you fight off boredom in 14. And there are still so many other things in 14 that I have not suggested in this video today, like grinding away at the gold saucer, collecting triple triad cards for a mount, fishing, treasure hunting, deep dungeons, and so many other things out there that I just cannot list in this one video. And if nothing here interests you and you don't really feel like playing 14, take a break. Everyone can take a break. It's totally fun to do that. Go play other games and come back in the future when there's more updates to the game to keep yourself, you know, in the loop of things. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a hot and sexy RP date tonight, so I'll catch you losers later. No, it's not with her.